let's look at what was the most missed question. I want each one of us to look at what was the most missed question for ourselves, and as a team, we can talk about it on lines with everybody.
Are we doing that by TEAC?
Yes, we are doing it by TEAC. So let's look at the PAP.
Are we gonna look at P4G first?
Most missed overall across the whole
overall.
TEACs.
Oh, okay.
So G or H, what is the most missed question? And what was the most answered choice?
That they chose?
They chose the wrong answer, the highest percentages.
So mine was, on the pre-AP test, it was problem number 12.
Problem
was my-
number 12 for Dr. Townsend. What about you, Ms. Ward?
Okay, so I'm trying to get there. Where do you find it in the?
If you
Oh, individual.
Yeah, and then
right.
grab
individual
yourself.
scores,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Okay, most missed was number 4.
Most missed was number 4. It was number 4 for me too.
Oh, actually, yes,
Yeah.
I missed that because there were a lot of good ones around it. That was mine too, 58% right. And then, so that was my lowest also.
So the most missed in pre-AP, then we all agree, was number 4. And what was this question about?
That was the one where one answer was you cannot solve this with the law of signs. That was the incorrect answer. That was my most missed incorrect answer. And the correct answer was the triangle doesn't
Triangle is not
exist.
formed.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
right.
was like a finer detail of the concept that kids were maybe not exposed to. I mean, the difference between not being able to solve and
Right, recognizing
that's
that if
fine, so.
they recognized that they were getting the answer not because they did something wrong, but because the question couldn't be evaluated using the law of signs, but then they couldn't distinguish between, is it because you can't use law of signs or there's no
it was,
triangle?
yeah, no triangle in general. You can't use any law.
Right.
In fact. Yeah,
Right.
okay. So I guess we needed more practice with that, but what was the most chosen answer? So they chose, the wrong answer was the law of signs, right?
D.
Yeah, it cannot be
Okay,
solved.
so how do we think we can fix it next time? Like in future, these kind of questions, do you think it's
In
required?
general, I wish I'd talked more about the triangle inequality property because they can do that first they can, there's actually a problem in here, you don't even need to pick up your calculator because you can look at the angles and the relative sides and figure out what goes with what. But it would also let them test, is that what's happening here, that the triangle can't be formed with the sides we've been given. So
Okay.
that was one idea that I had for next year.
So the prerequisites, basically reinforcing what we have from before, like triangle inequality or.
Since that's a
Real
geometry
geometry.
specific thing they haven't thought about in a couple of
They
years.
should be learning this in geometry, yes,
Right.
that's correct. Okay.
Yes.
What about on-level
Right.
pre-cal? What was the most missed question for the
My
regular
most
pre-cal?
missed question was question number 12.
Yeah.
And
12.
then also the question 4 was the second one.
Second most missed, okay.
The 12 was mine.
Okay, so what was question 4 on the regular test?
It was the
It
same,
was a similar
same as the
question.
advanced.
So, okay, it was the exact same. What is number 12?
Number 12 is it's the airplane, it's the bearing question. It's the airplane leaves the airport and flies due west 170, then 25 miles in south at 69 degrees. And so that angle, we have there's a picture with it, but the angle is 69 degrees, but you're supposed to calculate the bearing. And I think a lot of the students didn't know how to calculate the bearing on they just
On the
used the
test.
69, they tried to use 69.3 degrees. Like mine was like only 17% of my students got that question right. Number 4 was the second, but it was like 37%, so it was drastically, number 12 was drastic.
Did we have a picture for the pre-AP also, or?
No.
Because
have
that
that
was
question.
our
I don't
most
think we
missed
had that
We didn't have that
question. And so we were trying to help them with the
I saw the
picture.
picture.
And Mrs. Salat even put in the 90 that is due south, and the direction in the word part is south 69.33 west, and labeled the 69.33, but they just, I think,
felt
hadn't
like
worked
we
with
needed,
bearing
like
enough.
more practice.
Yeah, I
Focus
think
to
so,
the
yeah.
application.
I
I
felt
think
like that was one of the things that we kind of rushed through.
I felt like I rushed through it too.